What's going on, guys? I'm back with Chiefs Chat. Episode not 1, not 2, not 3. But this is episode 4 of Chiefs Chat. And it's currently about 3 p.m. on Sunday. First round of games getting wrapped up. And I'm here to talk to you guys about the game against the Buffalo Bills tomorrow. I believe it starts at 4 p.m. Eastern Time. Or not Eastern Time, Central Time. 5 p.m. Eastern Time. For all you Bills fans. If you're out there, you better watch out. We're going to beat you. So, I know that was probably like the least threatening threat that you've ever gotten. But you should be scared because Patrick Mahomes is coming to play. And when you look at the Buffalo Bills defense, I did some research. The Bills defense, they're not playing as well as we all thought they would. They're not playing as well as they did last year. Right now, they're currently middle of the pack when it comes to rushing yards on defense. They've allowed, I think, around 500. And when it comes to passing defense, they've allowed 10 touchdowns, 2 interceptions, and they've allowed an 103 quarterback rating overall against the quarterbacks that they've faced so far in this year. And that's not good. That's not good for that defense because Patrick Mahomes is coming to play. That's one of the big things, actually, I wanted to talk to you guys about. I got 3 main points, 3 things that I'm going to be looking at during this game, and 3 things I'm going to be looking at to improve over last week. So, obviously, the first one, Patrick Mahomes. We're going to see whether or not he has a big game. And I think him having a big game is crucial right now to our team. Because last week, I think we lost some confidence. I think we it was our first loss to the Oakland Raiders at Arrowhead Stadium since 2012. So it was kind of a big morale killer, I guess I should say. Kind of lowered morale after that loss to the Raiders. And Patrick Mahomes having a big game, that pumps everyone up. I mean, who doesn't get pumped up after seeing Mahomes get a big game? Face of the league, seeing him, even just like 300 yards, 3 touchdowns, and no picks, that's a big game in my book, And that's something I'm going to be looking for from Patrick Mahomes. I think he had 2 touchdowns last week, 1 interception. I think he had 300 yards, but it wasn't impressive. It wasn't, it's not a horrible game, but it's not the standard that we are used to seeing from Patrick Mahomes. And this week I'm looking for him to meet that standard, and if not, improve, if not, exceed those standards. Because I think it's something that we really need right now. Patrick Mahomes, obviously the best quarterback in the league. We need him to do well in this game against the Bills. And I think I fully expect him to do well against the Bills. But the second point, if for whatever reason he doesn't do well against the Bills, our defense has got to step up. You saw what they did against the Raiders last week. Derek Carr, 300 yards, 3 touchdowns, 1 interception. It's not going to do it. That's not going to do the job. It was a very poor game for the Chiefs defense. When you look at it, we've had a good year so far on the defensive side of the ball. You look at passing stats for our defense. We've allowed 7 touchdowns, 6 interceptions, and a quarterback rating of 83. That's pretty good. 6 weeks into the season, 5 weeks into the season. That's pretty good for our Chiefs defense. I'm pretty proud of that. I'm pretty happy that we are playing, I would say, above average. And, last week was an exception. We didn't play well. Our defense was horrible. So this week I'm looking for that to drastically improve, and it's going to be a big one because we've got Josh Allen at quarterback. And if I were to say that a year ago, if I were to say that Josh Allen kind of scares me, I would have gotten laughed at. Because Josh Allen wasn't really seen as a big offensive threat last year. But look at him now. He's playing great. Aside from last week, because I think he got beat pretty bad last week, aside from that 1 week, he's been playing MVP-type football. And the thing I like about his game is he's got a lot of Patrick Mahomes in him. He's got a lot of, creating plays, running outside of the pocket and extending plays, being able to, fight for yards, getting his, doing what he needs to do to make sure his team wins the game. I respect Josh Allen. I love the way he's playing this year. And honestly, right now, if we couldn't have Patrick Mahomes, Josh Allen is kind of the guy that I would kind of want. I know that sounds crazy. Obviously, you got Russell Wilson, Lamar Jackson, all those guys. But Josh Allen is playing out of his mind right now. And I think they've got, the Bills, I think they've got the second most passing yards in the league. Obviously, Dak Prescott and that Cowboys offense has the first most passing yards in the league. Obviously, prayers up to Dak Prescott. Horrible injury. But Josh Allen, he's been playing very well this year. And for our Chiefs defense, I think it would be a big morale booster if we were able to stop him, neutralize Josh Allen at least a little bit. Obviously, at least enough to make sure that the Chiefs offense score more points than the Bills. And I think if the Chiefs offense don't, don't score as many points as we all think they will, it'll be, kind of a similar game, from when we played the Patriots, just trying to slow down the offense. Obviously, Brian Hoyer at quarterback is kind of a downgrade from Josh Allen. But I think, just seeing the defense, shut down that Patriots offense, it really made me feel good. Obviously, our offense didn't play very well that game, but it was perfectly fine because our defense was absolutely killing it. And that's something I really, really, really want to see this week. I just want to see our defense just destroy them. And I have faith that that's going to happen. You look at our defense, we have so many great players. I mean, Frank Clark, Tyrann Mathieu, just so many amazing players. Chris Jones, Chartavius Ward has been playing very well. And obviously he's been injured a couple of weeks. And we got Rashad Breeland back. He played okay. He played okay last week. Got him back from the 4-game suspension for abusing the league's drug and substance abuse policy. So we got him back. Our defense should be up to par. It should be, locked and loaded, ready to go. And hopefully they come to play this time. Hopefully they show up and don't do something like they did last week. So that's the second thing I'm looking for. I'm looking for the defense to really, really, really stop Josh Allen. So the third main point, the last point that I'm looking at here, obviously, I think in my opinion, the most important point that I want to see, obviously, we just signed Le'Veon Bell. And you look at Le'Veon Bell and you look at the type of player he is. You see the way he played back in Pittsburgh. He was a patient runner. And that's something that differs from Clyde Edwards-Helaire. I think our offensive line is used to just, watching him punch through, whatever was in front of him. And, the offensive line didn't have as much responsibility, on their shoulders when it comes to creating space for the run because Clyde Edwards-Helaire, he just punches through, he just fights for yards. He does whatever he needs to do to try and get as many yards as he can. That's something I really like about Clyde Edwards-Helaire. I like to picture, I kind of like to compare him to like a bowling ball. He just punches through. He's just kind of short and he's kind of bulky and he just punches through that offensive line. He just, tries to fight for as many yards as he can. I really like that about his game. I really like Clyde Edwards-Helaire. And obviously, I'm very, very high on the guy. I think he should be getting as many touches as he possibly can. Hence why I wasn't too happy about the Le'Veon Bell signing. But enough about that. Now that it's happened, the signing's gone. The signing has come and gone. Le'Veon Bell's on our team. What I want to see from Le'Veon Bell is production. I want to see him move the ball. I want to see him prove me wrong. Because I don't think Le'Veon Bell will do much. That's my personal opinion. I don't think he will be a significant part of our offense. I think overall, him being on our team and taking carries away from Clyde Edwards-Helaire will hurt us in the long run. And I want him to prove me wrong. I want him to defy the odds. I want him to play like an all-star running back like he did, back in Pittsburgh. But I think an important piece to being able to do that is having an offensive line that creates space. And when you look at our offensive line, we got Mitchell Schwartz, we got Eric Fisher, we got guys who, on paper, should be able to do this. We should be able to create space. We should be able to create enough space for Le'Veon Bell to be productive. But then you think about the way that they've been playing, in last week, and the weeks before that, Clyde Edwards-Helaire, hasn't had, the same type of game, that he did on his debut when he had, I think it was 138 yards, 138 rushing yards. I think since then he has been playing very well. And that's largely due to the production from our offensive line. And even in the passing game, you see Patrick Mahomes trying to extend plays and running out of the pocket more than he usually does. And that's not good. Quarterbacks are more productive when they're in the pocket and they have more time to let the play develop. So that's why I'm a little scared. That's why I'm a little skeptical of having Le'Veon Bell on the team, because he's a patient guy. He sits in the backfield and he waits for those those holes to show up, and he just he tries to. He's just a very unique runner. He's a very unique runner. He's got a very special style of play, and it worked in Pittsburgh flawlessly. He was a great running back in Pittsburgh. Probably the best in the league for a short period of time. But hopefully, I don't see him getting back to that level, ever in his career. But hopefully we can get a good amount of production from him, and it starts with the offensive line. We need to see our offensive line do better. I'm going to be looking at the offensive line, and I'm going to be seeing, how they, strategically change now that Le'Veon Bell is on the team. How are things going to differ, from Le'Veon Bell carrying the ball and Clyde Edwards-Helaire carrying the ball? Because the offensive line, they didn't have as much they didn't have as much pressure on them whenever Clyde Edwards-Helaire had the ball, because he just punched through whatever was in front of him. But now that Le'Veon Bell's on the team, they know he's sitting in the backfield waiting for them to create a hole for him. So they're going to have that pressure on their shoulders. They need to do that. They need to create space for Le'Veon Bell. And aside from that, they just need to do better in general. They need to make sure that Patrick Mahomes has more time to throw. That obviously goes back to my first point of Patrick Mahomes having a big game. He's not going to be able to do that unless the offensive line can slow down that front four. So the offensive line is going to be the big thing that we're looking at this week, that I'm looking at this week, and I think all Chiefs fans should be looking at this week. So with that being said, that's pretty much it for Chiefs chat. Going into the game, I'm very confident that we're going to win. I feel good. The Bills, they've been playing well, but they're no match for the defending Super Bowl champs. So at the end of the day, pretty excited, and I'm looking forward to a Chiefs W. With that being said, if you made it to this point in the video, I appreciate the support. You can go ahead and leave a like if you want to. Go ahead and subscribe, or leave a dislike if you want to. Constructive criticism always helps. Drop a comment down below. I love debating. I love debating with other football fans. It's just something that I actually at some point want to make a career out of, being able to debate other sports fans about different football topics. So I'm excited for the game tomorrow. I hope you guys are too. And if you want, you can go ahead and subscribe. Chiefs chat isn't something that I'm doing. It's not scheduled. If I want to talk about the Chiefs, I just set up a camera and go ahead and do it. So that's how I like to do things. Hope you guys enjoyed this one. And I'll see you tomorrow for the game recap. It's going to be a W. Let's go Chiefs Kingdom. See you next time.